Alright guys, this is Josh again from Midnight Auto. I'm coming back because I'm doing something really special. I've been alluding to the fact that I own this particular vehicle, and now I'm going to bring you along to get it started for the year. Last time I started it was November. Haven't had time to get into the shop. As you understand, in the world, everybody's just been that busy lately. Every auto service shop has just been working hand over fist, so got to make customers happy and then work on your own stuff in your own time. So today we're actually going to introduce this. This is my 1975 Bricklin sv1. Now, a Bricklin, you say, what the heck is that? Why? Why do you have that? So in my case, I wanted one for like 10 years. And they're such a rare car, I never thought I would see one in person, let alone get the chance to actually be the proud owner of it. And then, as dumb luck normally finds it, I stumbled across this guy here, and it had sat around. It actually hadn't ran since 1987. So I picked it up, we drug it back here to the base, and a little bit of Marvel Mist Oil and some fiddle farting around, and I got the motor to turn over. And as you guys see in one of my previous videos, I got it to start last year. Now I haven't attempted it this year, but I'm going to bring you along to see what we can accomplish. Now this is car 2129 out of 2985. If that gives you a general idea of maybe why you haven't heard of one, or if you have, probably have seen them in pictures, not in real life. So I'll try to give you some of the ins and outs of this unique automobile. Alright, so for those of you that look at this and say, yeah, it looks like a 240, or it looks kind of like a DeLorean. The second one is actually closer to the truth, because truth is stranger than fiction. So this car here, sorry for all the stuff driving by, we're getting one of our nice weekends here, and we got a group of motorcycle enthusiasts that have decided to enjoy the day. So for the moment, coming back around to this, why DeLorean? Why is this closely related to the DMC-12? Well, this actually was the originator in that era of these gull-wing doors. The DeLorean actually happened to acquire those based upon, if you listen to documentaries, now that's what I've got to work on, is documentaries and information you find on the internet, so we all trust that with a grain of salt. But the story is that Malcolm had allowed John to tour his facility before this car was ready, and actually was in fact queued up to work for Malcolm and be the guy in charge of these vehicles, so Malcolm could be in charge of marketing. And it got to the point where both of them are very proud men with egos, so obviously it came down to a whose name's going to be on the back of the car scenario, which obviously Malcolm, being his car, wanted it to be him. Now John DeLorean has actually seen this car as a concept, and I know these aren't the right seats. These are actually 84, 85 Fiero seats, which fit beautifully, because I am a very, very tall guy, and these cars were not designed for the big and tall. Now it's a little cluttered in here right now, just because of the fact I am trying to get to the battery box, which is right about there, so I can jump start this thing. But I kind of wanted to walk you around and let you see it, and see that one thing that's actually really cool about these is that these taillights right there, they are Di Tommaso Pantera, or if you're in Europe, Maserati Merak, and I believe there's a Lamborghini that uses that same exact taillight. So it's kind of cool, huh? But the design is very similar to the DMC-12, because yet again, coming back to rumor, the rumor is that Malcolm in one of his documentaries said that he talked to John DeLorean. John DeLorean was asking him for a bit of advice. And Malcolm told him he's got to have gull-wing doors. You got nothing unless you got gull-wing doors. The other thing, too, is this. He patterned the DeLorean, the DMC-12 after the original concept for this, the Gray Ghost. But there's a little bit of information. This is one of those ones where when you're done watching this video, seriously, Google a couple of the documentaries. If I can figure out how to put a link, I will find a link for a couple of the really good ones I've found. But this is one of those, the story is as interesting as the car is. But it's a front tilting hood. I pulled that off because at some point somebody had tried to remove that hood before the hinges were actually freed up and ripped the chunk out of the one bottom edge. So I took it off and I've just been laying it down there for the moment. And what we have here is we have a 351 Windsor, because this is a 75 model. If it would have been a 74, it would have had an AMC 360, which is, I hate to say it, an animal I'm more familiar with than the Ford motor. But after sitting 34 years, it was locked up. A little bit of Marvel Mystery Oil and let it sit overnight. Put a 13/16 socket on the crank and bounced on it a couple times. She rolled right over. Now I've been through here. I removed the AC because to me, I like power a little more than I like the comfort, I guess. And I like to remove complication, especially in something that down the road here I intend on actually throwing real power at, and I'm not trying to save a system that will work alright. If I'm really honest with you, I have access to a small block Chevy, or I really am thinking about a 5.7 Hemi and grafting a bunch of stuff from a Chrysler 300. Because, you know, a little bit more modern power, having a 5-speed automatic transmission, I think would just all be beneficial, especially in today's times of rough gas mileage, or should I say not gas mileage, but gas prices, and everything else. But here we go. We're gonna kind of take a tour of the inside here. And these gauges here are actually pretty cool. Those are actually VDO gauges. Like legit, old, branded, not the new VDO that you find at the parts store. And it's got all the gauges. It's got just a basic 3-speed automatic. And mine came with this weird, it has a CB where the rolling dial clock should be. And up here, in between the gull wings, was mounted, what was that? It was a stereo mounted up there, and it kind of cool, but it didn't work. And obviously the leather on the steering wheel needs redone desperately because it's just dried, cracked. This thing sat with the driver's window down for the better part of about 10 years. But coming back around, so I am going to try to get this set up to the point where I can put the jump box on it, and then we are getting down in here, and I don't know if you can see my finger or not down in here, but down here is your steel me junction, better known as the starter solenoid. Yep, a couple more motorcyclists, but it's known as the steel me junction, better known as the ignition relay. And you normally bridge that over, which on this one, unfortunately, I have to for the moment, because I got it to roll over about twice with the key, and then something started smoking, and then ever since then, ignition switch has been dead. I replaced the actual switch that's down on the column. I've tried chasing out the wiring, and I ran out of time last year before it was too snowy to move it around, and I just had to put it on the back burner. But for the moment, I am going to throw a jump pack on it, and then we are going to see if we can't get in there and get her to crank to life. This isn't going to be one of the technical videos I normally do. This is kind of this is the car, walking you around it, and we'll just proof of life, just to see if it runs. But until then, I'll be here. Alright guys, I got the jump box hooked up to it. Battery still had a couple volts, but not enough to handle this particular operation. So I'm going to get down my steel knee junction, and I am going to touch, you have your pole going to the starter, you have your pole going to the battery, and then you have two little posts on there. This post over here is going to be for your voltage drop, your ballast resistor that goes into the Duraspark valves. This one, on the other hand, this guy here on the right hand side, he is there so you can, when you hit the key, it sends 12 volts to that post. Well, I got a power probe here, and I'm going to replicate that from the outside. This is going to be my, as Derek from Vice Grip Garage says, Lone Wolf 6000, so we'll see if she cranks. And she does. Let's see here. Give me the squirters. Not white yet, but alright, so it's taking a little bit to get the fuel up from the tank, but I'm starting to feel a little bit of squirter action in the carburetor. See? She has signs of life. 2, 3. Give her a little choke. See? Not a bad little engine considering how long it's at, and I'm sure that there are rust ridges still in the cylinder cores from where it was stuck. But it's just kind of cool to see it come back to life. Battery terminal. Battery terminal is a little loose. I just kind of got it hung on there just so I can get it fired up. Well, for the moment, I am going to have to run to the gas station and get a little bit of fuel because I am pulling from the vehicle's own tank. But it does run. I'm going to see if I can't get it to fire up, sit here and idle. I'm going to check the coolant and everything else just to make sure we can run it for a little bit. But not bad considering it's sat since November. Alright guys, That was a quick gas station run to put a few more gallons of fuel in there. So, come over here, cut the ignition back on. We'll see if we can't get a little gas up to the carburetor now. Still nothing yet. Still nothing. Splash just a little bit down here, just see if we can get it to kick a little bit. Well, I have to go grab some carb cleaner or something real quick and see if I can't make that work. Alright guys, we're back. Found a little ether to just get it kicked. Get some fuel up to the carburetor. Sound like she caught a little of the fuel from the gas tank, actually, and then gone. Nothing. Well, looks like she finally caught the gasoline I put in it. It's not a bad runner. Alright guys, so sitting there running, not the best. I mean, this motor still needs a lot of work. I mean, it had rat's nest all around it, all the spark plug wires have been eaten, but honestly this motor's not supposed to be my last stop anyhow. But I wanted you guys get a good look and a listen on this thing, because I've been wanting to get this thing started for a while, and I figure I'd bring all y'all along with me to see. But anyhow guys, I am going to let you go. I'm gonna check the coolant in this, let it run for a little while longer, see what kind of voltage I'm getting out of the alternator, and go from there. I'm going to say she's running a little rich, but I'll be darned. It ain't running good. Just had to bring you guys in for that one. Alright guys, so figure I'd bring you along for the first start of the year because this is something I'm really excited about. This is a car I've wanted for a long time. I'm not a rich man. I'm not a man who can go out and just buy one off the rack. So I gotta take my little bit of resource from this and get this thing going. But I'll bring you guys along with me every step of the way. I appreciate you watching. Like, share, and subscribe. If you like this, feel free to drop a comment below and let me know how I did. This is Josh from Midnight Auto. Hope you all have a wonderful day.